He was a renowned iron fist in revolution, defending and executing the strategies and tactics of the Bolsheviks. Throughout history, every revolutionary or revolutionary organization needed one crucial element. Can you guess what it is? Money, of course. On June 26, 1907, Stalin orchestrated the explosion at the Tiflis Indoor Square and carried out a bank robbery, seizing 250,000 rubles, which he fully contributed to the party, raising funds for Bolshevik activities. Although he claimed it was a Bolshevik bank robbery, the Menshevik-dominated Transcaucasian Party organization saw it as a breach of discipline. The explosion resulted in the death of 40 citizens. Confiscating the ill-gotten capital alone could not justify the act. Stalin was expelled from the party but continued to be active in society. In 1912, Stalin received instructions from Lenin and established the Pravda newspaper in St. Petersburg. He actively used public opinion to vent dissatisfaction with the state at the time, recruiting more Bolshevik members. In 1917, the February Revolution erupted, leading to the fall of the Romanov dynasty. Stalin learned about the revolution from newspapers and immediately returned. Finally, he met with Lenin and others in Petrograd. During the party conference held in April, Lenin advocated for the overthrow of the provisional government, and Stalin and others actively supported Lenin. By this time, Stalin had become an influential figure, having mediated between the Rothschild and Nobel families, receiving support from both world-class financial groups. The Bolshevik regime relied on Stalin, as one mountain could not accommodate two tigers. Apart from Lenin's authority, there were various other forces eager to seize power, as no one knew what the future of Russia held. This is when Lenin started making promises. He realized that the working class and peasants made up 70% of the population, and why not harness this power? Lenin began making promises, touring and giving speeches with his Bolshevik comrades. This was a time when Russia was experiencing setbacks in World War I, and the public's trust in the government was waning. Lenin believed it was the right time. The October Revolution broke out in Russia. It was the first successful socialist revolution in human history, leading to the birth of the world's first socialist state. After the revolution's victory, Joseph Stalin held various positions such as People's Commissar for Nationalities Affairs and People's Commissar of State Control. During the period of the Russian Civil War and foreign armed intervention, he served as a member of the All-Russian Central Executive Committee of the Workers' and Peasants' Defense Council, a member of the Revolutionary Military Council of the Republic, and a member of the Revolutionary Military Council on the southern, western, and southwestern fronts. He fought in various regions, playing a significant role in defending the newly established Soviet regime and achieving remarkable accomplishments. In 1922, Stalin became the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. This position involved handling numerous documents and regulations, allowing Stalin to establish connections with influential individuals both within and outside the party. At that time, the Bolshevik Central Committee had less than 30 members, and Lenin felt the need to increase its size to around 100 members. Stalin seized this opportunity and selected his loyal and close associates. As a result, Stalin essentially gained control over the entire Soviet government. At that time, the party operated on a voting system, with all matters being discussed and decided through voting. Lenin was a true advocate of republicanism. However, when the number of Central Committee members in the Communist Party reached 100, it was evident who the hidden wielder of power was. On January 21, 1924, Lenin, who had suffered a stroke, passed away. The party needed to elect a new leader, and Stalin and Leon Trotsky emerged as the top contenders. Stalin formed an alliance with Grigory Zinoviev and Lev Kamina, successfully crushing the influence of Trotsky and his associates. It was an expected outcome. In May 1924, during a central plenary meeting, Stalin was elected General Secretary. He was a political genius in the realm of political struggles and subsequently became the top figure in the Soviet Union. However, his subordinates, who held significant positions of power, and his political opponents who didn't align with his views, didn't anticipate what was about to unfold. A play of deceit and betrayal was set in motion, sweeping through the entire Soviet Union. After consolidating his power in 1934, Stalin launched a series of purges. On December 1, 1934, Sergei Kirov, the secretary of the Leningrad Regional Committee, was assassinated in the Smolny Palace. According to records from the Kirov Museum, Kirov was shot in the back of the head as he turned left in the main corridor towards his office. It was a mysterious incident as there was no conclusive evidence. People speculated about who was behind the scenes, and Stalin promptly stepped forward, accusing Lev Kamina and Grigory Zinoviev, leaders of the anti-Soviet Trotskyist organization. Kamina, Zinoviev, and others were arrested, and through coercion, they were forced to confess their guilt. Later, it was claimed that Stalin secretly met with them and verbally promised that they should confess, urging the public not to be consumed by panic about the state of the country. However, when the moment came for Trotsky and Kamina to face the executioner, they realized it was too late. Stalin had deceived them. Subsequently, Stalin used the same tactics, accusing Trotsky of organizing anti-Soviet military groups, leading to the execution of Marshal Mikhail Tukhachevsky and 7 other senior generals, as well as numerous allies within the military. In 1938, Stalin employed similar methods to execute Nikol I. Bukharin and others. Being close to Stalin was like being with a tiger. In 1938, Yagoda, who had led the early purges, himself faced trial, admitting to treason and was executed. Eventually, Nikolai Yezhov also fell victim to the purges and was sentenced to death. During the party congress in 1934, more than 2/3 of the elected Central Committee members were subsequently killed in the purges. Stalin's main objective was to prevent the emergence of independent power within the country. The Great Purge nearly wiped out the entire officer class of the Red Army, with over 40,000 military officers and political workers being purged. Among them, 15,000 were executed. The purges resulted in the execution of 3 out of 5 marshals, 3 out of 4 army-level generals, all 12 corps-level generals, 60 out of 67 divisional commanders, 136 out of 199 brigade commanders, and 221 out of 397 regimental commanders. This purge was one of the reasons for the successive failures of the Soviet Union against the German army on the Eastern Front during World War II. On March 5, 1953, Stalin passed away in Moscow at the age of 73 due to a cerebral hemorrhage. He was buried in Moscow's Red Square. Stalin remained at the pinnacle of power in the Soviet Union for several decades.